Let's dive into a pretty mind-bending philosophical puzzle from Eastern thought. It's one that challenges something we all take for granted, the idea of achievement. What if the greatest thing you could ever possibly do is to accomplish, well, nothing at all? And yeah, that's the central paradox we're going to tackle. How can the ultimate goal, the absolute peak of existence, be about gaining absolutely nothing? I know, it sounds like a total contradiction, but stick with me because there's some seriously profound wisdom hiding inside this riddle. Okay, so to start to get our heads around this, we have to look at what's considered the highest state in Buddhism. It's called Anuttarā-samyak-saṃbodhi. Yeah, I know, it's a mouthful, but it basically just means supreme, perfect enlightenment. This is the big one, the ultimate goal. Now, get this. This question wasn't asked by some random skeptic. It came from one of the Buddha's own students, Subhuti. He's basically asking, hold on, after all that work, all that striving, you ended up with nothing? He's saying out loud what all of us are probably thinking. And the Buddha's answer? It just makes the whole mystery even deeper. He doesn't just agree, he says precisely. He confirms that the whole reason it's called supreme enlightenment is because there was nothing there to get in the first place. So, what on earth does that actually mean? So this strange back and forth points us to a really core Buddhist idea. It's the philosophical key that's going to unlock this whole riddle for us. And the idea is called non-attainment. Right, so non-attainment, or musudak in Korean, is the state where all the usual mental chatter, our goals, our striving, our constant thinking, it just stops. And in that quiet, in that emptiness, the idea of a me who is achieving an it, you suddenly see it for what it is, an illusion. This chart breaks it down perfectly. See, on the left, you've got the normal way we see things, the attainment view. It's dualistic. It says there's you, the subject, and there's a goal out there, the object, and you've got to go get it. But then you look to the right, at non-attainment, and that entire separation just collapses. The self and the goal, they just become one. Here's a simple way to think about it. In that normal attainment view, the Buddha would be like an eye, and his enlightenment would be like a color. Two separate things, right? The eye looks at and sees the color. But what if the eye became the color? That's the massive shift in perspective we're talking about here. So the really crucial point here is that this isn't just some abstract philosophy. It has very real consequences for how we live and how we see the world. And to make this idea really concrete, we need a story. So we're going to unpack this whole idea with a classic Buddhist parable. It's a really simple, kind of dramatic story, but it perfectly shows the massive difference between attaining and, well, not attaining. Okay, so the story has a monk, a jeweler, and a priceless jewel. But honestly, the real star of the show is a very, very hungry goose. All right, so here's how it goes down. A monk is at a jeweler shop, and suddenly, a super valuable jewel goes missing. The jeweler immediately accuses the monk. But the monk knows what really happened. He saw a goose gobble it down, but he stays completely silent because he wants to protect the animal. So the jeweler, furious, ties the monk up and just beats him badly. Finally, in a fit of rage, the jeweler kills the goose. And when he cuts it open, of course, there's the jewel. And in that one single horrifying moment, it all hits the jeweler. He realizes this monk endured a brutal beating, not because he was guilty, but out of pure, selfless compassion to save the life of an animal. So, how does this tragic story of a monk and a goose bring us all the way back to our riddle about gaining nothing? Well, it turns out it's a perfect demonstration of non-attainment in action. I mean, think about it. The monk had such an easy way out, an easy path to attainment. He could have attained his freedom, his good name, his innocence. All he had to do was say what happened. But he let it all go. Why would he do that? Let's really get inside his head here for a second. First, he let go of that powerful need to be right. He totally abandoned the desire to win the argument. And here's the most important part. He refused to create two separate things, me, the innocent guy, versus the goose, the guilty party. Instead, he saw one single reality, and he acted with compassion for the whole situation, not just for himself. That right there is non-attainment in the real world. So why does any of this matter to us, today? Because this ancient teaching is actually a powerful antidote to a very modern problem. Our constant, relentless need to justify ourselves, to prove we're right and that someone else is wrong. The monk's silence. It shows us a completely different way of being. And so we end up right where we started, but with a whole new way of looking at it. The question isn't just for the Buddha anymore, it's for us. Think about something you're striving for right now. To be right in an argument, to get that promotion, to prove your point. What could you truly gain by just letting go of the need to attain it?